Hey, treatment planning. Okay, so this is the video for week 2, which starts January 22nd. And this week is all about safety related issues, suicidality related issues, which we cover in length in crisis class, which is in the summer. And I've been teaching crisis since 2015. So I would imagine you'll have me too. But this was my area of expertise. So I just want to give you some pointers, what's really important to know this week in hopefully 8 minutes or less. So today you should have read Crescent Palo, chapter 3, Preston and Johnson, 2 and 3. That peer interview project is due the 19th. Okay, so we still have like almost a month from this point. So make sure that you're using the video that I posted this past week about tips and tricks for that. And then if you have to go back and re-interview or ask some extra questions of your friend, just do that. If you have any questions at all, just let me know. If it's something that's a question that I'm like, oh, I just didn't cover that, I'll go ahead and shoot that out to the whole class in an email, just letting y'all know, because my goal is to make y'all as successful as possible. The grading rubric is available on D2L under peer interview grading sheet. Okay, so safety related issues. I'm just kind of making sure that I'm following this on my PowerPoint so that I'm not leaving anything out. So suicidal clients, that's something that when you get your first one, it's scary and you will always remember it. And I get that. And I worked just with folks who were experiencing suicidal ideation for a number of years as a crisis counselor. Okay. So one thing that I found was that I didn't have to solve anything. I really didn't have to work to convince anybody of anything. I really just had to be there with them. And so the TED Talk that I've posted on this PowerPoint, you will watch it in crisis class. I can watch it a million times and it always just reminds me of what's important. So when you're sitting in that moment with someone, really all we have to remember is I am here. I have been trained to listen and that's all I need to do. Okay. I just need to sit with someone in those moments. Involuntary hospitalization is when folks are asked, maybe it's like, oh, geez, Dr. Rausch seems like she's really upset and experiencing this ideation, and I'm not able to kind of work with her to collaborate to have her decide to go in on her own. And so you can have folks say, hey, we are representative of mental health folks and we want to put this person into hospitalization, a suicide bed, a hold bed. Okay. And so I put in there what the rules are for Georgia, but every state has different laws about the involuntary hospitalization. So you'll just want to make sure you know that. You have to think about like if they've attempted in the past, if they are currently using substances, alcohol, nicotine, anything, if they're impulsive, if they're aggressive, if they've been thinking about it more than one time a month, we consider it common to think about suicide or say like, it might be easier if I wasn't here one time a month. If it's more than that, let's check into that. If they feel like they've lost control, if they have another diagnosis, if something like they've lost a job, lost a relationship, they're experiencing money troubles, any type of current context, that's really, really important. And if you see like that their mood is shifting a lot, okay? If they have been recently discharged from the hospital, that's a major time, okay? So we always think of like, oh, Christmas or that holiday, right? For folks who don't celebrate those holidays, but those kind of like that time of year coming into the new year, oh, that's a big thing. Yeah, but also when people are released, we see it a lot, because it kind of takes away that feeling of safety of being in a place where you know that you'll be taken care of. So Crescent Palo used the mnemonic device is path warm, just to help you think through it when you're talking with someone. Like, are they having ideation? Do they use substances? Do they feel like they lack purpose? Are they experiencing anxiety? Do they feel trapped in where they are? All of these things are just ways to like kind of check in, and you're not whipping out an assessment sheet and reading it verbatim, but you are going to have something there to make sure that you are doing it correctly and just to kind of give you that confidence too. A homicidal client is when someone wants to harm somebody else, and we really need to work with developing a rapport with those folks. Generally, we see that those folks don't trust other individuals, so we really want to make sure that we're building up a real sense of trust there. And the Tarasoff case is something that you would get tested on, maybe with the CPCE or the NCE, but it's about a counselor who didn't warn someone and then that person ended up being murdered by their client, okay? The client characteristics of a homicidal client. You can watch lots of different documentaries on Netflix just to kind of get in that. I did like, I Just Killed My Dad. I thought that that was an interesting one just to kind of see how things kind of transpire, right? But they could have a history of like intimate partner violence, or they used to call that domestic violence. They might use substances. You see that again, right? That impulsivity, that lack of control. They might have been involved in like fire setting or vandalizing. And so sometimes they will have had a diagnosis of oppositional defiant disorder or conduct disorder. You want to just check that out. One is not representative of the other. It's just something to check in. Let's see, interpersonal violence in victims. We want to make sure that they feel safe. A lot of times what I have recognized, because this was a major area for me for a long time, was that folks don't recognize emotional abuse or sexual abuse when it happens in a relationship. Okay. So I like the abusive behaviors inventory because it uses non-gendered language. Any person can be a victim. Any person can be a perpetrator. It doesn't really respond to gender. And so we really want to make sure that folks feel comfortable coming to you, especially if there are stigma attached to a certain gender of the perpetrator. Be prepared to help somebody find resources. A lot of times they just feel like things are spiraling out of control, and we want to be their safety board for them. Okay. Walk through them how to file an order of protection. And trust me, you can ask your classmates who have already completed crisis class that this is a major thing that I make you do in the summer, and everyone hates it. But then in the end, they all come back and say, thank you for helping me do that. So I think it's really important. Also, creating a safety plan. How are we going to help you? What are you going to do? Let's think through all the scenarios. Let's think of all the kind of aspects that we might not have otherwise thought about. And then make sure they have counseling, support system. Maybe it's bibliotherapy. I love Why Does He Do That by Lundy Bancroft, even though it's not, the perpetrator is not always a he. It can be lots of different folks. I think that one is really good, especially for emotional abuse. And then help them understand all of the intricacies that they're going to endure when they escape. So it's all about assessing what's your context. What do you have as your strength? What do you have as your support? What are you currently doing that could work against you? Like maybe I'm drinking every night. Okay, what does that drinking do for you? If it calms you down, let's find something else to replace that also calms you down, that allows you to be in a sober head and sober mind. Okay, so that's it for this week. Enjoy your week. Make sure you watch my videos just to make sure that you have everything down, especially for those papers. I really want you to do well on that peer interview. It should be a fun paper to write. And let me know what you need from me, how I can support you. I am always here to do so. Have a great, safe week. Stay warm, and remember that you are loved. Take care.